My name is Eileen and I play guitar and vihuela.
Hi, my name is Dolores, but everyone knows me as Lola. Play the violin, sing here and there, and honestly, it's fun working with these girls, especially when you're raised in Las Vegas and come over here to LA. That's a whole different experience, and especially with a good and hardworking boss like Cindy Shea in the back.
My name is Rachel. I'm Mexican American. I moved here from Indiana to join the Mariachi Divas. I play vihuela and sometimes guitar.
Hello, my name is Desiree Rodriguez, and I play the guitarrón and the vihuela and the guitar. And it has always been my dream to be in this group, and it's amazing to have this Grammy nomination.
My name is Rachel. I play the flute, and I'm from Cuba. And even though I come from a different cultural background, I'm very grateful that music provides me the opportunity to embrace other cultures.
Well, I had the opportunity, I'm a trumpet player, and I had the opportunity to, of course, grow up hearing mariachis, living in LA. Never had the opportunity to play with one. And a female group that had just formed, which was very rare for the LA area in that time, had asked me to play a few gigs with them. I got to play Hollywood Bowl, and it was the name was Mariachi Las Alondras. And I liked the concept, and I enjoyed it, but I've always been kind of a leader and wanting to expand things and go out of the box a little bit. Which wasn't out of the box for me. It's because I was a jazz musician and played salsa and played a lot of different things. I wanted to play the type of music that we could incorporate many genres. And mariachi happens to be very traditional, and everyone within that group wasn't really down for that. So I knew that if this is something I wanted to continue, I had to pretty much be my own band leader, write my own arrangements, create the ideas that I had in my head that I heard, and myself, and put them to life. Go to the studio, record, and make things happen. And that's how I started my female group. I just decided, you know what, I love this idea, but I would love to have a multicultural group. Like we are a multicultural group here today, even with the few of us that are here out of the many divas. We're very united through many different cultures and able to put in instruments that wouldn't be typical for the mariachi in this day, like our flute player right here, adding a little percussion and improvisation, which comes from jazz, many different styles. Even reggaeton didn't even exist when I first started the mariachi, and now it does, and now we can even put reggaeton with the mariachi if we want to. So sing in English, do many styles, and that's kind of what I love. I love just being able to bring in styles from all over the world and create new music.
No quieras divertirte hasta ver salir el sol. Yo te invito a Rosarito para que entres en calor. Con sus playas tan bonitas que acariciarán tu piel. Su gente tan amable que te trata como un rey. Mi Rosarito, tierra bendita, en donde los días son bellos y las noches más bonitas. Viva mi tierra, mi Rosarito, es un regalo de Dios, con sus playas Rosarito.
We had to break all the barriers. We knocked down doors. I got all the punches, not real punches, but you know what I mean. And it was hard for me because I'm a gringa, not Mexican American and not from Mexico. So it was really hard for me because everybody assumed I didn't speak Spanish when I did, and I learned it. And everybody assumed I'd just decided to pick up a trumpet and start a mariachi group. They didn't know my background as a musician, that I've been performing my entire life, and I loved Latin music, and I'd already lived in Miami for years, and I already played with Celia Cruz, and I was touring with Joan Sebastian, and I had a lot of great experiences already that brought me into the moment of becoming a mariachi, I guess you would say. People that didn't know the background didn't understand, and they would just say, well, what are you doing? You can't do that with our music. But I've never looked at it that way. I felt like music was universal. Music didn't belong to one person, although it originated in one place, of course, in Jalisco, Mexico. I loved that what I did with it was mine and my way of interpreting the music was special because it was mine. I mean, if we all sounded exactly the same, we'd be boring. If rock and roll never moved from Elvis Presley, we'd still have the 3-chord blues, doing a jailhouse rock or something. I mean, it has to move, which created alternative rock and so on and so on, and why reggaeton exists, and so many different styles. And now you can hear a norteño and a banda together, and you can't even figure out what it is, because music fuses together, and that's the beauty of it. And I didn't feel I was doing anything wrong because I wasn't raised with this music so much. I didn't know if I was doing wrong, as some people would try to say. I was just creating what I felt. And I had so much tropical influence, playing with Celia, living in Miami, loving salsa, merengue, cha-cha-cha, all those things. Of course, playing jazz, studying with Arturo Sandoval and many other great artists. I wanted to find a way where I could still improvise if I wanted to, or I could still sing a song in English. Because at my family parties, they didn't know a lot of the songs in Spanish. What's wrong with playing a little Etta James if I wanted to, or, an oldie but goodie of someone's, or Whitney Houston if I chose to. I didn't see the problem. All we're doing is incorporating it into the mariachi that we have here and the instrumentation that we're using. So, plus you turn on the radio back then in the 90s, and that's what you heard. If you turn on the radio and you heard Alejandro Fernandez, you heard a mariachi with maybe electric guitar, piano, drum set, saxophone, also Pepe Aguilar. These are the kids of the greats like Vicente Fernandez, Antonio Aguilar, who were the more traditionalists, and then their kids kind of spanned off and did other styles, like Pepe Aguilar loving rock. He incorporated rock into the mariachi. So that's what I heard. So I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, because what I heard on the radio was obviously popular. People loved it. So I thought, cool, this is what I'm going to do. And the first CD I made, interesting enough, kind of marked us as being like a kind of a dancey group. And they would say, oh, are they a salsa group? Are they a cumbia group? Are they a mariachi? People didn't really know. And the reason behind it, which people didn't know because they didn't ask, was when I was actually recording the first album, Celia Cruz passed away. And she was my hero. Like, this woman on stage was like no other. She was a queen of the stage. And I had to honor her. And this was my band, and this was the way that I could honor her. And I know she loved mariachi. So I was recording, planning my list out, and then all of a sudden we took a detour and recorded Guantanamera and Carnaval, and then I added a lot of original music and a lot of variation of dance music. So there was a little mariachi and more dance, and that's where people first thought, how it's kind of like what people hear for the first time, that's how they're going to mark you, if that's what you are. And it wasn't. We were just musicians, and we were just honoring someone. And the next album that came out was totally different. It was like Juan Gabriel and traditional, and the sad song like Amor Eterno, that's honoring your loved one when they pass. And it was a totally different vibe. And so people were so confused. And I think what I've learned now, 20 years later, is that's great. They were confused, but they were listening. We had their attention, and now I get it. And it was a good thing. I know I struggled a lot. It was really hard to get a lot of the ridicule that we did. I feel like I got it in more than one way, not just being a gringa, Irish Italian, by the way, but also being a woman and also playing the trumpet. So I had 3 marks against me, a masculine instrument, and then a Latino genre, and it was just being a woman. That was different. And most of the time you would find women, female mariachis, within a group of men. So there'd be like one violinist with the rest of the guys, or one guitar with the rest of the guys. And that would be the singer, the one girl singer that they had. And I thought, man, what if we went around LA and grabbed each one of those girls from the hundreds of male groups? We could have a pretty amazing group, And that's kind of what started happening. And interesting enough, without even thinking about it or trying to, like, I had auditions and I said, we're going to have auditions, you need to be from a different country, like not from here or Mexico. Never. It just so happened that women would show up, we'd hear about them, they played great, they sang great, they'd join the band, and I'd find out months later, oh, your family's from Honduras, oh, your family's from Ecuador, oh, your family's from Cuba, oh, your family's from Colombia, from Panama, all over the place. And we just ended up becoming this beautiful, colorful group of women that were raised with different likes of food, of dance, of customs, and we got to share that with each other. And we brought that together and created music through that vibe. And it was pretty amazing. And even to this day, I have never said, well, we have to have somebody from this country because Colombia left, so we got to get another Colombiana. Never. It just so happens we've had 3 girls from Colombia, 2 from Bogota and 1 from Cartagena. We've had 3 girls from Cuba, and 1 is with us today, Rachel from Havana, Cuba, and beautiful flute player. And her parents are Nicaraguan, and we have Eileen, who's Guatemalan, and we have our Chicanas in the group right here, Rachel and Lola. Of course, we have girls from Mexico also. And through the years, if you read our bio, you'd see, even from Japan, we had a beautiful flute player from Japan who also sang in Spanish, and a girl from Switzerland that spoke German and French, played trumpet with me. Girls from all over the world. So really proving the fact that mariachi is a mundial music, a world music. It's a music loved by all and shared by all. And I think that's what made me fall most in love with it, because it's the one genre of music that I never walked away from. I played it, I started my own band, and I stuck with it. And every day there's something new to learn. And I think that's the beauty of it, that nothing ever sounds the same, especially with us, because there's so many divas that we have different formations of groups all the time. Sometimes we have flutes, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have 3 trumpets, sometimes no trumpet. And we always get a new vibe. Somebody new sings a song a different way, and it's like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's try this. And we kind of create our own sound through trial and error, which is kind of awesome. And it's just been a great, great journey. And I can't wait for the next 20 years. Even if I'm in a wheelchair, I will roll out and I'll be loving it. Over the last years, we've had women that have moved away, become doctorates. 2 live in Texas that are both doctorates and work in a university. And I can still call them for a tour, or if there's something going on in LA, they'll still come out. I have 1 in Argentina that actually recorded on this album, 1 in Colorado, 1 in Arizona. So we have divas all over the map now because of the years we have together. You know, stationary at home, there's a good number of us, probably a good 15 to 20 of us here at home. But there are others outside, so we can't really count, you know, because there's so many. We have a website, so mariachidivas.com, but we also have all the social media aspects. And pretty much if you put Mariachi Divas, you'll find us on Instagram. And Pandora, we have a station on Pandora. Facebook, we have a fan page. It's Mariachi Divas de Cindy Shea, which is my name. And, of course, YouTube channel. Twitter, Mariachi Divas _. So, but if you put Mariachi Divas, they all come up, and you can find us and give us a like. We need to get our likes up because we need more endorsements like Teslas and cool stuff like that. Boss Diva wants a Tesla. Yeah, umbrella would have been good for today. Yeah, normally I don't come to interviews looking like I just rolled out of the shower. But it was pouring rain. Welcome to LA. It's sunny 1 hour and then pouring rain the next. But I'm here. Very wet. I'm here, though, and happy to be here. Hope you don't mind my wet hair.
It's a very sleek hairdo, though. That's what I told her. So that's very nice and sleek.
I do have a fun story about Rachel. We had a few performances in Chicago. We would go every year and play at the Ravinia. It's like kind of like the Hollywood Bowl over there. And I met her because we were working with a student group, and she was working with them, helping them out. And, you know, my first thing I would usually say to a beautiful girl who's talented is, hey, if you ever come to LA, hit me up. We always have room. We have work all the time.
And I said, I'm going tomorrow. Like,
and she kind of did.
me.
I'm not joking. She kind of did. She got in her car, I think, and drove across country. And her first gig, I think she drove directly to Disneyland and just gave her name and rolled in.
I went to sleep, and then the next morning I went to Disneyland.
Yeah, she was like working. And the girls in my band told me, what are you thinking bringing people in that you don't even know? You don't know how they even really play. And I said, you know
Just
what?
pick them off the street.
I just have these feelings, and you know, kind of like your parents know the good guy for you or not the good guy. I kind of can pick out the good or the bad diva. And, you know, she was going to be a good diva. And, yeah, it's pretty awesome, the risks that musicians will take for this opportunity. So I feel like I have a heavy responsibility as a boss, as a leader, as a mentor, because I'm twice their ages now. It's different than it was 20 years ago. Now I feel a responsibility to take, not only that, take care of them and make sure that they're getting what I would have wanted for me or for my own kids. I don't want them to just come in a band and be bored and just do a job. I want them to walk out of this as leaders, as strong women. If they fight me back for things, that's okay. I will fight them back. But I want them to be able to speak, stand up for themselves, and understand what they're learning musically, and just constantly be educated, because without education, we're nothing. I always encourage all the girls to continue their education. It was important for me. I had a full-ride scholarship to Florida International University for a jazz performance with Arturo Sandoval, but I studied for 4 years music education at Cal State Fullerton first. So when I hear the girls are studying, I will always work with their schedules. They might be part-time, they might be full-time divas, but I do encourage as much as possible that they study if that's what they want to do, because I don't think a job should hold them back. And I think education is the one thing no one can ever take from you, is knowledge. And if I didn't have the knowledge I did, I don't think I could be leading a band like this with a lot of women. It's not easy. Can you imagine? We need a reality show for reals. Buzz. Hi, we are the Mariachi Divas. And you've just been buzzed.
Buzz.